Okay, should I get started? So I kind of have messed up around my office hours a little bit. I was needing to open up my Thursday morning, so I announced that I was going to change my office hours from Thursday mornings to Friday afternoons. And then I looked at my schedule and I realized that I'm actually busy pretty much every Friday for the rest of the semester. So that's what happens to you when you don't pay enough attention. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to try to unravel what I did. So so I didn't have office hours this morning. I'll have them instead Monday morning. So for folks who want to come talk one-on-one about life or the problem set, 9 to 11 on Monday, and then I'll just go back to normal. I'll just suck it up and go back to normal starting next Thursday. All good? Office hours. Okay. I don't know whether it's helpful to have these things pointed out because I have a very short future time perspective, as you all know. I find it helpful for people to point out the passage of time. This is lecture 18. There are 23 lectures on the syllabus, so we're getting there. We're getting there. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. All right, so part 3 in a 4-part series of lectures about behavioral economics and public policy. And we're going to start talking about a topic that is of very considerable interest in public policy circles, which is this idea of soft paternalism. Okay, and I'm going to talk a bit about what I mean by paternalism, and then I'm going to, yes, what have I done wrong? My mic is, it's not, is that better? It's a slight fashion issue, because I don't want it to distort the shape of my collar. How about that? Better? How about that? Yeah? Okay. I promise you I can take this further than you want me to. Okay. So we're going to talk about this concept of soft paternalism. I've been talking a lot about the idea of internalities and that we might want to try to correct for sort of what we might think of as behavioral market failures due to the failure of the assumption of rational utility maximization. And behavioral economists have actually taken that idea a step further and tried to actually outline in fairly more or less rigorous terms a range of public policy approaches that we think behavioral economics points towards and can justify. So we're going to talk about 2 different types of soft paternalism, asymmetric and libertarian paternalism, and there are quite approachable and accessible readings about each of these things on the syllabus as required readings. Okay, so this is another one of those situations. Don't turn your page, by the way. On the next page of your handout is another one of these sort of randomized things where half of you have one version of the handout and half of you have the other. And I'm going to ask you to just don't turn it over yet. Don't look at your neighbors. Don't turn it over and don't talk. And by the way, stop talking to each other. I've been letting you guys slide because I'm in a good mood. So don't look yet. I want you to just read through fairly straightforward little description and then decide this is a political question. And it goes like this. Some states in the United States have laws requiring motorcyclists to wear helmets. Other states do not. Then you on your handouts have a little couple of sentences of explanation. Please do not look at one another's handouts. And the question is, how do you feel about helmet laws? There's 2 groups. I think I've marked them group 1 and group 2, right? So what I'm going to do is that once you've circled your answer, then I'll go and I'll do answers for group 1 and then answers for group 2. Okay? Anybody not getting a handout? Okay. Has everybody circled an answer? I know you usually expect to get a voter handout and have about 6 weeks to think about these things, but group 1. If you have a group 1 handout, enter your answer now. Handout right here. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and that's group 1. And group 2, whoops, come on. Group 2 now. Okay. 3, 2, 1, 7, stop. All right, I'm not going to show you your answers. And I now want you to turn the page so that you can't look at each other's thingamajiggers because I want to surprise you. I think that works, doesn't it? That moves you on to the first substantive page of the handout? I think. Good. Which is this. Oopsie. All right. So we're going to talk first about asymmetric paternalism, which is the first of these sort of soft paternalistic ideas. And asymmetric paternalism is going to be tied directly into benefit cost analysis, which is this welfare analysis that we've been doing all along, looking at dead weight loss and increases and decreases in total social surplus. Asymmetric paternalism is an idea that was generated by some of the big names in behavioral economics. You'll recognize most of them in a moment when I show you. And it's all tied into sort of very rigorous theoretical underpinnings that neoclassical economics has been based on for more than 100 years. Okay, so first let's start with some terms. But paternalism is a sort of it's a term that maybe is used loosely in some cases. We want to pin it down fairly precisely. So I've got a series of definitions. Google definitions. I have no idea where Google gets their definitions, but the policy or practice on the part of people in positions of authority of restricting the freedom and responsibilities of those subordinate to them in the subordinate's best interest. Okay, sounds pretty grisly. Sounds like exactly the kind of thing we don't like. Now, the thing I want to emphasize, and how does that? This has always been such a good computer. Okay. Supposed according to whom? So this is supposed by the DM. Okay, so DM means decision maker. Okay, so this is the decision maker's opinion of what's in the individual's best interest. Here's the American Heritage Dictionary: a policy or practice of treating or governing people in a fatherly manner, especially providing for their needs without giving them rights or responsibilities. Okay. Now again, needs according to whom? According to the DM. Okay, fatherly. The attitude or policy of a government or other authority that manages the affairs of a country, company, community, etc., in the manner of a father. Okay. So again, the preferences of the decision maker is the essence of all of this, and usurping responsibility and liberty of choice. Finally, the system principle practice of managing or governing individuals, businesses, nations in the manner of a father, dealing benevolently and often intrusively with his children. I don't know. I kind of hope most fathers are both benevolent and intrusive, up to a point. But at any rate, that's not necessarily what we want out of our government. Okay. Points I want you to note, if it's not obvious, paternalism is good for people according to the preferences of the paternalist. Right? Everybody gets that pater is the Latin root for father, the Latin root that means father. Paternalism overrides people's own choices and violates their liberty. That's the sort of orthodox definition of the word paternalism. We're going to see a different approach to reframing the word, trying to impose a somewhat different meaning on the word. All right, so here's a new concept, asymmetric paternalism. Here's the basic idea. Good behavioral economics removes the paternalist from paternalism, okay? So this is, and makes the violation of personal liberty essentially harmless. So it's asymmetric in the sense that the benefits generated by the paternalist part, by the the part of, if you think about the last, or second to last definition that we looked at, right? A father dealing benevolently, but often intrusively with his children. The idea here is that the benevolent, we're going to redefine the benevolent, benevolently part to mean instead of in the according to the preferences of the decision maker, we're going to turn it into benevolent in terms of the preferences of the individual in ways that will immediately make sense to you. And we're going to try to impose a decision rule that makes the violation of personal liberty, the intrusive part, essentially harmless or very close to harmless. That's to say highly asymmetric, so that the people who are helped by the benevolent part massively, the benefits of the people who are helped by the benevolence of these policies are going to dramatically outweigh any costs caused by the violation of personal liberty or the intrusiveness or restriction of choice. So this idea comes from a 2003 paper called Regulation for Conservatives, which is, so like a lot of these things, it starts with sort of a section or two of extremely well thought out logic and theory and philosophy and what have you, followed by a bunch of examples. And the examples will mostly be familiar to you. As far as I'm concerned, the examples are kind of on a take it or leave it basis, and what I care about is the ideas that precede the examples, because I think that actually they're limiting themselves inappropriately in the range of examples that they use. So who are these people? Kammerer, we've come across Colin Kammerer, haven't we? Somewhere? No, maybe not. Lowenstein we know, Donahue, Rabin. So these are big names. All right, so I have sort of dissected this. The other paper we're going to I think I'm probably dehydrated. Look at, which is called libertarian paternalism, and I picked them both apart into two pairs of hypotheses. And so the pair of hypotheses in this paper, the first one is called the mistakes hypothesis. Okay, so these are, as I see it, these are hypotheses in political psychology. These are hypotheses about how we as a society either do or should feel about certain kinds of public policy. So here's the mistakes hypothesis. It's reflected in the following two quotes from the paper. Recent research in behavioral economics has identified a variety of decision-making errors that may expand the scope of paternalistic regulation. What do we mean by errors? We know what we mean by errors. People failing to maximize their own true preferences, right? So here's what they say. To the extent that the errors identified by behavioral research lead people to not to behave in their own interests, paternalism may prove useful. It's important, and it's very clear from reading the rest of the paper, that when they say their own interests, they mean their true rational preferences, in exactly the way that we've been talking about for the last little while. Say, for example, their delta preferences, or their alpha equals 0 preferences, whatever you want to think in terms of. So that's the mistakes hypothesis. We have this idea that we can think of at least situations in which people make mistakes that make them worse off, not according to my preferences as a decision maker, but according to their preferences, which I could potentially observe or at least estimate based on some social science research. And then there's what I call the minimal harm hypothesis. Okay, a regulation is asymmetrically paternalistic. This is the key point in this particular paper. If it creates large benefits for those who make errors while imposing little or no harm on those who are fully rational. Okay? We talked about this a little already. For those, particularly economists, prone to rigid anti-paternalism, the paper describes a possibly attractive, right? So this is a possibly attractive rationale for paternalism, as well as a careful, cautious, and disciplined approach. Disciplined in the sense of the minimal harm hypothesis. This is attractive rationale for paternalism in the sense of the mistakes hypothesis. The idea here is this should be attractive, which is an inherently political word, right? They mean attractive in political terms. And the reason they think it should be attractive is because we can show on the basis of social science research that these are situations where we're making people better off according to their own self-revealed preferences. Even if we don't know each individual person's level of rationality, we know sort of the distribution across the population of different types of rational versus non-rational, and on the basis of that, we feel more comfortable with the idea that we're making people better off according to their own preferences. Fine. And if we can do that in a way that benefits the irrational types a lot, harms the rational types only a little, then we have asymmetric paternalism, right? Because the balance is tipped towards benefits to the irrational types, right? So in other words, if a paternalistic policy, in the sense of the mistakes hypothesis, can be shown to pass benefit-cost analysis by a landslide, by a lot, in an asymmetric way, benefits hugely outweighing costs, then it probably satisfies asymmetric paternalism, okay? Subject to the criterion that it must be paternalistic in the way implied by the mistakes hypothesis, right? Which is that it makes people better off according to their own preferences. I think I've said that 4 times now. Does this make sense? This is a straightforward concept. If I tested you on the mistakes hypothesis and the minimal harm hypothesis, you'd know what I was talking about. Nobody else in the world who has not already taken this class will know what you're talking about, because I made this all up. I'm actually writing a paper on this, and you guys are some of my subjects. Okay, so here are a couple real-world examples. The helmet laws that I just asked you about. So here's applying the mistakes hypothesis to the helmet law. Is the pleasure of feeling the wind on your face really worth more than the expected loss of having your head split open on the pavement? Okay, raise your hand if you've ridden a motorcycle, front or back. Okay, keep your hand raised if you've done so without a helmet, legally or non-legally. Just a couple of you. All right, I have. Provided you don't have a windshield, the feeling on your face, people think, oh, why can't you just put a helmet on? The reason is that the feeling of unperturbed air flowing over your face, not the kind of turbulent air you get when you stick your hand just outside the window of a car, but the kind of unturbulated air that you get if you stick your arm 3 feet outside the window of a car, it feels like someone's pouring cream over your face. Am I right? Who was it at the top who raised their hand? Yes? It's quite enjoyable. Has anybody ever had a motorcycle accident and wound up, say, in the ER? Okay, I have. I told you this, right? I paid $6,000 for these 3 teeth. That was just last February. Okay, the point is this. The pleasure of feeling the wind over your face without a helmet in a way is real. But the idea here is that perhaps people are not making a rational trade-off when they choose to get that feeling in exchange for an increased risk of motorcycle accidents can get really grisly. So my guess is that motorcyclists discount the future costs irrationally. I know at least one who does. Riding without a helmet is very tempting, okay, in my experience. And when you're on a motorcycle, so motorcycles typically generate adrenaline. Adrenaline makes you stop thinking about the future. That's kind of the point of adrenaline. Now this is... I thought I had added something. Oh, yeah, I didn't add it to the slide. The other thing is, and this is a topic we haven't talked about, is the topic of irrational overconfidence. Okay, so you see these studies that sort of the ha-ha version of this. I don't know if it's exactly correct, but it's very similar to results that people have observed experimentally. That 90% of male American drivers think that they're in the top 10% of American drivers. Right? And it's not just men. So people are overconfident about their own driving, and both of these things are irrational. And almost certainly non-helmet riders are failing to maximize their true preferences. And I can tell you that this does come into very sudden, sharp clarity when you wake up in the ER with your teeth falling out of your head. Okay. Now applying so that's the mistakes hypothesis, right? So I can make a relatively strong claim on the basis of rigorous social science research that the typical ordinary human being who gets onto a motorcycle is going to have irrationality of these two types. Okay? They're going to cause them to make decisions, make them highly likely to make decisions that are not actually maximizing their true long-term preferences. Okay. Then there's the minimal harm hypothesis. Does being forced to wear a helmet really harm rational types much? Rational types. So I say almost certainly not. I don't have any proof of this. I claim that rational types almost certainly wear helmets anyway. Okay? Because it's very hard to believe that people wreck motorcycles a lot, even good drivers. And the cost of doing so. The reason I went into the IR is I had a helmet on, but it was a modular with a face shield that comes up, and like an idiot, I was riding with a face shield up. And the wind on your face is a relatively small part of the pleasure of motorcycle riding. So even for rational types for whom that pleasure, who are correct about being such fabulous drivers that they will never have a wreck, they're not giving up much by being forced to wear a helmet. Okay. Now, what do I want to do here? I'm not quite ready to look at your answers. Okay, another example. Everybody knows about the so-called soda ban. Remember Michael Bloomberg's soda ban? This is why Michael Bloomberg will never get elected president. It wasn't a ban on soda at all. It was a ban on large servings of soda and other sugary drinks in certain places, particularly restaurants, I think, and food carts. So the idea was that you would not be allowed in the city of New York to sell sugary drinks in containers larger than 16 ounces. So here's what we believe to be true, right? So as always, as in so many cases when it comes to public health and safety, you have the discounting issue, right? So I'm sitting there drinking sugar, getting obese. Soda, by the way, is I think the leading contributor to excessive caloric intake in this country. It's a big deal. He picked on soda for a really good reason. So people drink insane amounts of sugar, like really ridiculous amounts of sugar in their drinks. And so we have this idea that, like all normal people, they may be discounting the long-term health costs of doing so. Then there's this, and this is another topic that I haven't gone into, but I just love this, okay? It turns out there's quite a bit of research that shows that eating more beyond a certain point, does not actually increase your feeling of satiety. I think that's the right word. Satiatedness. In other words, it doesn't help. Beyond a certain point, you've overcome your hunger, and eating more doesn't actually reduce your hunger anymore or increase your feeling of satisfaction. So here's a study that I just put up online by Flood et al. Subjects eat lunch in a lab once a week for 6 weeks. So one day a week they come in and they have their lunch in very controlled circumstances in a lab. The food stays the same across all 6 weeks, but the drink varies. Now, it varies between cola, diet cola, and water, but more importantly, it varies between 12 and 18-ounce servings. So looking just at the sugary soda arm of the thing, caloric intake from drink only, not food, went up by 10% for women and 26% for men when they went from a 12-ounce serving to an 18-ounce serving. This is in a situation where the majority of people didn't finish the 12-ounce serving, right? So this isn't just about, no, I actually needed to get more than my fill. People drink more if you give them more, even if they're not, right? Even if they're sort of stopping at a certain point because they have a feeling of satiation, they drink more before they reach that point of satiation if you give them a larger portion. Hang on one second. And their caloric intake from other sources was unchanged, so they weren't just substituting calories from food to drink, they were in fact consuming more calories, and their self-reported hunger level after the difference between before and after was unchanged, right? So you get the same experience of satiation from a 12-ounce drink as from a 16-ounce drink, and you increase your caloric intake significantly. And 18 ounces, as we know, is actually a small soda these days. And a big gulp is what, 32 ounces? 60, so it gets insane. Yeah. It's not. Sorry, I added it. I should have mentioned that. Thank you for pointing it out. I actually added this. I thought this was important enough. I wanted to add it. So it's not in your slides. And if that bugs you, send me an email and I'll send you the updated version. Okay. I don't know the facts. Buying two 16-ounce sodas isn't that much more costly than buying one 32-ounce soda. I know that that's not always the case, but by and large, it's not a massive imposition. And my claim, I haven't seen the numbers on this, is that the soda ban almost certainly passes asymmetric paternalism, in the sense that you have potentially huge benefits to sort of non-rational types, which is in some sense all of us, because everybody is subject to this satiety sort of phenomenon where we keep drinking or eating not based on how full we are, but on how much is in front of us. And so almost certainly there are large benefits over the long run by basically just sort of nudging people with a smaller portion into drinking less. So my sense, again, I haven't seen analysis, is that the cost imposed on rational types who genuinely do rationally want 32 ounces instead of 16 is probably fairly small. So I would claim that the soda ban probably passes an asymmetric paternalism test. Yes, both in terms of the mistakes hypothesis and the minimal harm hypothesis. Good? Yes? No? This is what State Senator Tony Smith from Mississippi has to say about it. This is about personal responsibility. When I go out to eat with my 3 daughters, they get waters. I don't need the government to tell me to do that. Now, one possibility is that the state senator of Mississippi doesn't pay him enough to buy sodas for his daughters. But assuming that it does, here's a guy who has just revealed, if this statement is true, he has just revealed that the soda ban will not affect him because he doesn't buy soda. Right? What he is offended by is that this undermines the value he places on personal responsibility, not his own, because he has already achieved personal responsibility. What he is concerned about is that this law will take away personal responsibility from other people, okay? That they will not be faced with the consequences of their choices. That's politics. That's not economics. That is a value that is above and beyond the things that we measure in our normative analysis using our models, right? We measure the sort of social surplus that people achieve through the allocation of resources and consumption goods. We do not try to put a dollar value on things like the desire to have other people face the consequences of their decisions. So this is where we're at. Now I want to look at your answers. All right. So here are Group 1's answers. 51%, what were the questions? A was I have support, is that right? Okay, so 51% support, 39% don't. Here's the way that it was framed. One reason for having a helmet law is that research has shown that motorcyclists often do not correctly take into account the risk of having an accident or the harm they might experience in an accident without a helmet. A helmet law can protect motorcyclists from making a decision they might later regret, right? Implying that, that this is, so I'm applying the mistakes hypothesis here, that this is something that they themselves would wish they had not done. Yes? Good call. That's Group 1. 75% said that that's support. Okay, this totally undermines my hypothesis. What? I forgot what I wrote. Oh, okay. So A and B are strongly support and somewhat support, right? And C and D. So this is 4% don't support, and the rest do support. Group 2 looks like this. So